Pastor Mark Burns was on MSNBC, as you can see, and he is a disgrace. Fortunately for Mika and Joe Scarborough, Al Sharpton was on the panel this morning, and Mika should have deferred to Pastor Reverend Sharpton to let him take control of this particular segment with questions and answers, because she basically could not control this. But when Al jumped in, he basically took control more or less of the conversation and pushed this phony pastor into admitting certain things. And Pastor Burns was pushed so far to make a statement that he wasn't dealing in the physical world. He was pretty much dealing in the spiritual world as far as his belief in Donald Trump. Here's a segment.
That was a web video posted to Donald Trump's Twitter account last night. Joining us now is Trump's supporter, Pastor Mark Burns. He spoke at the Republican National Convention and took part in yesterday's Republican Leadership Initiative at Trump Tower. So how did that meeting go? Are you hopeful that I don't even know what to ask, actually. I'm sorry. Your candidate is saying things that
it's
really
healed. Have y'all...
See, and that she didn't know what to ask or how to approach this. That's why Al should have been in there right off the bat to start questioning this guy, because every time anybody else, particularly Mika, who, you know, I think that you know, doesn't have clean hands either. She started asking questions, or the other. You can call them moderators if you want to, or guests, started asking him questions. He started rambling and going off into soliloquies. But when Al put him to the wall, he had to give, if you want to call them, straight answers.
I'm sorry.
We have laid hands on him, and I believe, without a doubt, Mr. Trump truly wants to be a president for all Americans. And I know, without question, there has been some language that has been controversial, but to some Americans. But I believe we just really in a very racially divided country right now, and I think it's just so imperative.
Do you think your candidate has anything to do with that?
I think it's imperative that all leaders on both sides really begin to just bring the healing.
That's great, but do you think your candidate has anything to do with the divisiveness, especially the racial undertones that we're seeing right now?
Well, I think what you're seeing is a frustration that has been building for years. I mean, this is not nothing that is brand new. It's not nothing that just Donald Trump all of a sudden created. I think this is something that African Americans, minorities have been dealing for, you know, since the creation of the United States of America.
Let me see if I understand you, first of all, where you come from here, because on your candidate. When he made the comments he made about the judge saying he was a Mexican, was that racist or not?
Well, I think...
I just want to know if it was racist or not. That's all, and then I can move on with the conversation, but I need to know where you stand on things in terms of reality. So, were those comments racist or not?
Well, I think it's important to understand, I think if I was in Mr. Trump's shoes, and I had a very controversial policy that offended millions of... potentially millions of Hispanic people.
But you know he was not. He was born in America. Were the comments racist or not? I just want to know.
Let me finish my statement. Okay?
Well, it's asking for the answer to the question, not a statement. Well, could I have an answer to the question?
Let me give you my answer the way I would give it to you, so that we can move forward. Because we're telling the story. It's just the student.
But it's yes or no.
So I think if I was in Mr. Trump's shoes, I don't think it was racist. I understand what real racism is. Let me just say this. I'm from the South. I'm a black man from the deep South, okay? in South Carolina just 2 months ago, they re-raised the Confederate flag in my state to celebrate its 1 year's removal. So for you to sit here and ask me like I don't know what real racism is,
no, you do.
I don't think so.
Yeah, see, now this is where Al jumps in and straightens him out.
But I do
Pastor, I think that you're right to condemn the re-raising of the Confederate flag, and I think that a black man from South Carolina who is a Republican, your senator, said that Donald Trump's statement was racist, and I think that we can agree or disagree. There's some things I disagree with Mrs. Clinton about,
sure,
but I think we lose the moral imperative if we start saying that something that is green is red. What he said was racist. The man's nationality wasn't even Mexican, but even if it was racist. There are things that the Clintons have done that I disagree with. I think the real issue that I have with Mr. Trump, and I respect you and some of the ministers that were there yesterday, it's not about you, it's not about Ben Carson.
Sure.
But for Donald Trump to say to black Americans, try something new, he needs to tell us what new is.
Absolutely.
What is the policy?
Absolutely.
Why didn't he come out against the Confederate flag? Why didn't he come out and deal with the Charleston 9 in your state that were massacred?
Do you know the answer?
Where is his policy?
Sure.
Do you know?
I don't. Again, I'm not your politician.
Y'all met yesterday. What did he say?
Well, we did talk clearly on in this group of leaders, the RLI. These leaders told Mr. Trump the two greatest issues that they believe, Hispanics and African Americans believe, what were the greatest issues within our communities. Number one,
Okay, before he goes into that, they never even brought up the raising of the Confederate flag in South Carolina. Okay, that's clear from what he's saying. They never even brought up the Charleston 9. Okay, that's clear. Now, he's going to talk about what they brought up as far as the two issues that I guess there was consensus on that are important. So they didn't even talk about issues that are important to black people.
Was education. We can't get the jobs unless we're properly trained. And they all agreed and echoed to Mr. Trump that the importance of allowing parents to choose the schools that they can attend. Because a child that is born in an underprivileged, underperforming community, their children are more likely to not succeed because of the educational policies within that school. And right now, we have a system that is forcing those children to stay within those underprivileged, underperforming academics policies. So they're already lost before they be.
So his education policy is there for what to solve that?
Well, obviously, is to give the power to the.
It's not obvious. I don't know what his policy is.
Well, I think it's been pretty clear, Reverend Al, if he says to give parents the opportunity to choose the schools that their children should attend. That's a policy all by itself that we currently don't have. There should be more charter schools. There should be more magnet schools. We should allow schools to compete. So
Donald Trump, who wants to be the president of the United States. Let me finish my I just want to come back.
Sure. So now it's allowing schools who are underprivileged to raise up the bar, or they close down. Either way, children are getting the highest level of
Donald
education.
Trump, therefore, is saying that I, as president of the United States, who would be over the Department of Education's answer is outside of the public school system. He is over the public school system if he's president. When this present president had Newt Gingrich, a right-winger, and I toured the country on this, would Donald Trump have agreed with that? Because we talked about that. So, I mean, Donald Trump has not come forward with an education policy as president of the United States. He sat up and pandered to, yeah, that's what y'all say, fine, that's good. That's not a policy.
I think it's important, Reverend Al, is the power of the people is what's important, not the individual. I think we have lost the power of the voice of the people. If the people are declaring to the presidents or the politicians, this is what we want, it shouldn't be dictated by an individual. That's the king.
But you elect the individual to execute the policy.
Right. But
otherwise, why have an election?
But the point is, you just got finished saying you're waiting for Donald Trump to say X, Y, and Z. The power,
which is why I
already
vote.
said it.
No. But I don't need him to tell me to vote for him, and then he tell me the power is the people. I need him to tell me why I should vote for him. him. What is your policy?
That's very clear. Listen, Donald Trump's critics are going to do what Donald Trump's critics do.
Okay, and see, this is where the Trump surrogates basically start deflecting when they lose, and they start trying to move to a different argument. Here goes Mark. Oh my God. Here goes Mark Burns doing the same thing that all Trump surrogates do.
And that is to criticize every single thing that he does.
We just want to know what the policies are.
Can I ask you something? Can I just stay on education now? Can I ask you one more time? So I just want to understand where this phase is. It sounds like he was listening to you. Like maybe he's still crafting. Can you just tell us where he is? Is he crafting an education policy based on what you told him yesterday? Are we jumping ahead? Is he still working on it and listening to you? Is that where he is?
You know, I'm not. Stephen Miller is his senior policy advisor. I'm not his policy advisor. We had a sounding board meeting.
So he listened.
He absolutely listened. And there were so many notes that was taken. He was attentively engaging to the African Americans and the Muslim Americans that was in attendance and the Hispanic Americans that were attending, and they were pouring their heart out, and he was really taking in every single thing that we were all saying.
Eugene Robinson in Washington has a question for you, Gene.
Real quick, this man has been running for a goddamn year and a half, okay? And this is the first meeting that we are aware of, and I believe it is actually the first meeting that he's ever had with a whole bunch of black and Hispanic people that he was actually, I guess, if you want to call it, listening to. Prior to that, he hadn't met with anybody other than these bought and paid for pastors like Mark Brown. So Mark Brown is full of shit on this.
Sure.
Hi, I just wanted to first point out that I'm also a black man from South Carolina. I have a somewhat different view of Mr. Trump. I want to get back to Reverend Al's question about policy, because we hear words from Donald Trump, but we don't hear policy. How can you support him and tell us that he would do such a great job as president if you have no idea what he would do? If you have no idea how he's going to make these education reforms that you want, if you have no idea what he's going to do about anything because he doesn't have any policies, how do you do that?
Sure.
Best question of the segment.
For me, it's really easy. It's a spiritual inclination. Every decision.
And he just answered. He don't know, but his spirit is telling him that Donald Trump is going to be the best president. I don't know about y'all, but when they start talking about the spirit, okay, when you have an obvious racist running around talking shit about everything, when they say the spirit is leading me in this direction, in my opinion, there's something else leading you in his direction, and that is cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
That you make is based off of what you value the most. What I value the most is connected to the Word of God. For me, life begins at conception.
Now here we go. Now he just jumped off into abortion. All right, but Donald Trump was pro-life. I'm sorry, pro-choice before he was pro-life. He just became pro-life within the last year and a half. So prior to that, for 30 plus years, he was pro-choice. So that's a flip-flop, and that's the mark of a hypocrite. And this guy's supporting a hypocrite.
I preach that, I teach that. For me, it does not begin at birth. And so it would be very difficult for me personally to support any candidate or any party that will support the death of millions of babies in this country. For me, that's a problem. And then also for the sanctity of marriage. For me, again...
So cultural issues, animated.
It's a spiritual and religious issue.
Reverend, I have a very simple question.
Sure.
Do you believe Donald Trump's description of black life in America, that you're going to get shot walking down the street, that you're never going to have a shot at a good job, that your kids are really screwed in terms of their future, that unemployment is approaching 60% among black youth, and that Hillary Clinton is a bigot?
You can't answer any of that.
With that.
I agree the fact that black people are not where we need to be in this country. I agree.
I wonder if he agrees that the white people are not where they need to be in this country.
That this system that we currently have has not been good for African Americans
that's a
in this
statement.
country.
Do you agree Hillary Clinton is a bigot?
Well, I agree.
That's the question.
Well, the question, what's more important is whether Donald Trump, whether Donald Trump is a bigot or not. That doesn't help one black person get a job.
Hillary a bigot.
He called Hillary a bigot.
Or declaring whether or not I agree, whether she's a bigot or not, doesn't solve or put jobs into not one black person in this country. So while we're here on national television, wasting this wonderful time, we should be discussing how that young mom who don't have a job.
That's why I asked you what his policy is. That's exactly what we ought to be discussing. But he's not discussing that. He brought up that she was a bigot. I asked you what his policy is.
Right. And
we ought to be talking about that.
And I can talk about.
Give me a candidate that
we're saying though that your connection to him is on these cultural issues. You value a culture of life.
Absolutely.
But on the other things, would you concede that he's got a way to go?
Well, I'm not your political analyst. I can just declare that I know the man and I know his heart. I have the opportunity to know him personally.
He said that his basis is spiritual.
Absolutely.
So we can agree you should bring him to church and we should bring her to the White House.
I don't think so.
Pastor Burns.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The conversation continues.
Pastor Burns is a fool. He is an absolute fool. And this is why people stop going to church. For guys like this that get out there and try to bullshit people left and right. They try to tell them the sky, the sky is purple when the sky is blue. They have no credibility. This guy is a goddamn disgrace to black people, period. He's a damn disgrace. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Clinton supporter, okay? I absolutely am not a Clinton supporter. But if you can't at least tell the truth about somebody that you're supporting, then you ain't got no business being up on TV. And that's just the way I feel about it. That ain't going to change.